We are clear-eyed about the challenges we are likely to face in the days and weeks ahead, and we are ready to meet them.
Coming up on CBS 4 Valley this morning, Title 42 is no more. We're live at the border this morning with details on the immigration enforcement policies that are now in effect. And lawmakers on Capitol Hill passed dueling border legislation with Title 42 as the focus. We'll hear from leaders on what they hope to accomplish. CBS 4 Valley this morning starts right now.
Live from the Rio Grande Valley, this is CBS 4 News, working for you this morning.
Good morning, Valley. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday morning. We have made it to the weekend finally. I'm Marco Ramirez alongside our senior meteorologist Jim Danner's got to look at your Friday forecast, and throughout the weekend, going to have those umbrellas and ponchos on standby because we're going to need them.
We're going to need them, but in the meantime, it's warm and humid out there.
Still.
Same old, same old. So temperature's close to 80
foggy glasses
degrees.
continues.
I feel for you.
Unfortunately.
I totally feel for you.
I chose this. It's fine.
Exactly. You chose this life, okay? There's a live look at Edinburg this morning. We are looking at mostly cloudy skies out there. Some fog occurring in some areas, and we can see some of that for the next few hours or so. And temperatures will pretty much stay steady where they're at right now. So nothing showing up on radar right now. It's very quiet out there. That radar is going to become very active, though, over the coming days. Visibility is out there right now. We've got 5 miles Harlingen, Weslaco. But you go up Highway 281 again today, zero visibility, or at least under a quarter and a half mile north of Edinburg, going all the way up towards Falfurrias, Hebbronville, Kingsville. So if your travel plans take you out of the valley, you could see a little bit of that for today. Temperatures out there, we should be, what, 60 degrees right now? Or, I'm sorry, 70 degrees right now. We are at 80, 82 degrees. That's a lot of humidity in place. And that's going to be some of the fuel to kick up those showers and thunderstorms that we're going to see coming along starting late tonight, going all the way through the weekend. We'll talk about that. Take a look at the Mother's Day forecast in just a bit.
All right, Jim, thanks so much. Happening now, the public health policy known as Title 42 is no longer in effect. The policy allowed Border Patrol to send migrants back to help to slow the spread of COVID-19. The Biden administration's plan going forward includes blocking most asylum requests, and if migrants pass through another country without applying for protection in that country first. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says anyone who arrived at the border after 11 p.m. is presumed ineligible for asylum and subject to steeper consequences for unlawful entry. And we'll dive deeper into those steeper penalties in the next half hour. But first, there's been a new development which will halt parts of the Biden administration's plans. CBS 4's Natasha Trinidad joins us live from the Gateway International Bridge with those details and updates on the situation at the border. Good morning, Natasha.
Just before Title 42 expired, a judge in Florida issued a restraining order against immigration's plans to release some migrants. The CBP planned to release some migrants without court dates or ways to track them to ease overcrowding at facilities. The restraining order will expire in 14 days, and another hearing in the case is scheduled for May 19th. As for the situation in our area, right now things are relatively calm, but there was quite a heavy police presence in case there were to be an influx. They also wanted to make sure residents feel safe.
Is to protect life and property. That is our main goal in the Brownsville Police Department. As far as the enforcement of immigration laws, that's why Customs and Border Patrol is there along with the Cameron County Sheriff's Department, and I know there's some National Guards along the levee. So that is their role, is to enforce immigration laws.
There were officers from several police departments, including Primera, Los Fresnos, Harlingen, and San Benito. Some constables were also out here as well. Officer Sandoval did say that this patrol did not interfere with any other department response. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll talk about what Title 8 is and what it means for those wanting to cross. Reporting live in Brownsville, I'm Natasha Trindade.
Natasha, thank you. And the plan outlined by DHS calls for a humane management of the border through deterrence, informants, and diplomacy. Well, deterrence involves U.S. authorities and other countries finding and dismantling smuggling operations, imposing consequences like the 5-year ban we just mentioned for migrants who fail to use lawful pathways. Well, doubling the number of refugees to be accepted and creating new family reunification programs also fall under this category. Enforcement includes more asylum officers to shorten migrant processing times from months to days, holding credible fear interviews earlier in the process, and increasing the number of weekly removal flights. Well, enforcement also entails that active duty troops, BP agents, and ICE officers along the border.
We have surged 24,000 Border Patrol agents and officers, thousands of troops, contractors, and over 1,000 asylum officers and judges to see this through.
And the third pillar, diplomacy, involves securing agreements with countries to quickly remove individuals who cannot be returned to their countries of origin, and increasing cooperation with Mexico to counter human smugglers and traffickers that are exploiting migrants. ICE unveiled a new policy that will require some migrant families seeking asylum to agree to wear a GPS ankle monitor and comply with a curfew while officials determine if they can stay in the country. It's called the Family Expedited Removal Management Process, and this applies to families who claim they're scared to return to their home countries. Well, this will allow asylum officers to review their eligibility without holding them in detention centers. If they don't qualify, they will be deported within 30 days. And thousands of migrants rushed across Mexico's border hours before Title 42 expired. While some of them don't fully understand Title 42 or Title 8, others do, and they realize the challenges they faced with the new policies. This is video from El Paso as soldiers let the migrants through the concertina wire barrier and loaded them onto buses for processing.
We're going to allow migrants access back into Mexico if they choose to return back into Mexico so they can seek asylum legally. Any migrants who choose to stay, they'll be processed in accordance with Border Patrol's decision making, but we're going to prevent any further migrants from joining the group that's already here.
Well, the major you just heard from there says at no point will soldiers use physical force with the migrants unless their safety is put in danger. Mexico is cooperating with the U.S. so there's no chaos or violence at the shared border. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador says he is also prioritizing migrant safety. López Obrador says he is also urging President Biden to work on agreements with Cuba, Venezuela, and other countries in Central America to deter people from migrating.
This is a decision that was made by President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and congressional Democrats to open up the border to what is nothing less than an invasion.
Well, that was Senator Ted Cruz along with other GOP senators who came to the border to protest the ending of Title 42. Senator Cruz criticized the administration's overall handling of immigration and stated that Texas will not be able to handle a surge in migrant crossings. And back on Capitol Hill, the Republican-led House passed the Secure the Border Act of 2023. The bill would resume construction of the border wall, tighten the rules to apply for asylum, and prohibit use of the CBP One app to make asylum claims. Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy shared his thoughts after the bill was passed.
We once again just passed a bill. The Senate has done nothing. And just like any other bill, we will pass a bill, the Senate could pass a bill, and we could go to conference and see what we can actually solve.
House Democrats just passed the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2023, which essentially creates a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries criticized Republicans, saying their border bill will only lead to more child deportations.
Another week, another extreme MAGA Republican bill on the floor of the House of Representatives. It will build a medieval border wall that is a 14th century solution to a 21st century problem and waste billions of taxpayer dollars.
Democrats say the bill is dead on arrival in the Senate.
We're live in Hidalgo bringing you the latest after the expiration of Title 42, what county officials are doing here to address a potential surge of migrants.
Welcome back. Time now 6:10. We're continuing our team coverage on the expiration of Title 42. The public health policy ended at 11 p.m. our time. Let's go over to the Upper Valley where CBS 4's Reina Rodriguez is monitoring the situation out there. So Reina, where are you at right now and what are you seeing?
Hey, good morning, Marco. Yes, I am near the Reynosa Hidalgo International Bridge. I must say it's relatively calm. It's quiet in this area. No sudden surge of migrants here. Now, This is just hours after Title 42 expired. However, Hidalgo and Cameron County judges issued a disaster declaration. Now, this in response to a potential surge of migrants along this area of the border. Now, the disaster declarations went into effect Thursday and last for 7 days unless County Commissioners Court decide to extend the order. We did speak with Hidalgo County Judge Richard Cortez earlier this week. Now, he said he issued the declaration after he received credible information from federal sources regarding large groups in northern Mexico who are just waiting to cross into the states. This measure, the declaration, Cortez says, is designed to secure all state and federal resources to ensure the safety of the community.
We know that this country needs immigrants, our economy needs immigrants, and there's some immigrants we want, there's some that we don't want. So it seems to me that we need to have two plans: to stop the immigrants that we don't want from coming, and to encourage those that we do want to come in a fast and legal way.
Now, Cortez says immigration policies have to change, calling on the federal government to provide leadership to address Congress and to make it happen. He's also encouraging our state leaders to push for efficient migration laws. Really, what Cortez is saying, that all the county can do right now is work with law enforcement at all levels to be prepared to respond if anything were to occur, as well as provide transportation for migrants if there is a surge in migrants in this area. Reporting live from Hidalgo, Reina Rodriguez. Marco, back to you.
Reina, thank you. All right, Jim, thanks so much. Well, breaking news overnight, a federal judge in Florida issued a restraining order on the Biden administration's plans to release some migrants. The order temporarily blocks the administration from releasing some migrants without court notices or ways to track them. CBP says the plan aimed to reduce overcrowding in Border Patrol facilities. The agency says it will comply with the ruling, but warns it will lead to a, quote, unsafe overcrowding. The restraining order will expire in 14 days. And Title 42 is no more, and that means Title 8 is now in effect. CBS 4's Natasha Trindade joins us live from the Gateway International Bridge to explain the policy and the consequences migrants can face. Good morning, Natasha.
Title 42 is a public health policy used during the pandemic to stop migrants from entering the U.S. The order was meant to help prevent the spread of COVID. But now with the pandemic over, Title 8 is the national immigration policy now in place to deter illegal immigration. Title 8 is a stricter law as it can remove or expel migrants and can even keep them from seeking asylum. One major consequence of the order is an individual can be banned from entering the country again. Those bans can go from 5 to 20 years or even a lifetime ban.
Title 8 removes people, right? There's removal, not expulsion, right? An order of removal carries immigration consequences, right? People can be barred for 5 years, and then when they come back, they can get arrested for entering illegally, right? So Title 8, as compared to Title 42, is an enforcement mechanism.
DHS plans to open some processing centers in some Central American countries where migrants can apply for legal pathways to enter the U.S. Another resource aside from these processing centers is the CBP One app. It's a tool migrants can use to file and track asylum claims. Reporting live in Brownsville, I'm Natasha Trindade.
Natasha, thank you. And we spoke to Brownsville Police, and they tell us that your safety is priority number one. BPD is working with several different agencies from the state to federal levels, including CBP. Officers will still be on the ground patrolling around the city, and you can still make police reports or call them if you have an emergency. We also spoke with DPS officials, and they agree that this is a coordinated effort.
Everyone is involved in this effort, not just in terms of border security, but also protecting their communities. So they can rest assured that they're going to feel safe, and that's why we have so many resources dedicated to try to protect not only the border communities, but the state of Texas as well.
Lieutenant Olivares says they expect to see more activity at the border in the coming weeks, but they are prepared. And the city of Brownsville is taking a humanitarian approach to Title 42 ending. The city issued a disaster declaration on April 27th, and that's already been extended. The city is partnering with hospitals, nonprofits, and other agencies to provide migrants with food, water, toiletries, and other basic necessities. If you're interested in helping, you can call any one of the organizations at the numbers right there on your screen. Let's go back out to the Upper Valley where CBS 4's Reina Rodriguez is live. Well, Reina, just hours after the lifting of Title 42, a massive surge of migrants was expected along the border. So what's it like where you're at right now, and what our officials are saying about that possibility?
Yeah, Marca, good morning. We're near the Hidalgo Reynosa International Bridge. Very calm this morning. Now, let me tell you that Homeland Security officials were saying that they were expecting about 10,000 migrants to attempt to cross into the U.S. now that Title 42 has expired. However, that same agency reporting that the number of apprehensions from Tuesday and Wednesday have already surpassed that number. Marco?
Well, we could see it's a very different scene there, Reina, from where you were at yesterday over in Cameron County just before Title 42 expired. So can you tell us, how does that compare to the situation you experienced with the migrants over in Brownsville?
Right, Marco. No sudden migrant surge here. Very different from what we saw yesterday, as you mentioned, in Brownsville. Downtown area, to be specific, near the bus station, was very busy. The streets filled with migrants. Now, we did notice that near that area, the bus station, bus after bus arriving and dropping off those migrants to be further processed before they were released from Border Patrol custody, and so that they could make their way farther north to reach their final destination. Marco?
And you also had a chance to speak with some of those migrants over in Brownsville. So what did they have to say about their experience?
Yeah, Marco, I did speak with many of those migrants, the majority of them from Venezuela, and they told me that they decided to cross, to take the risk just hours before Title 42 expired because there's a lot of uncertainty. They don't know what to expect, but they do know, they fear that under Title 8, it's going to be much harder for them to apply for asylum here. They fear it's going to be a much harder and longer process. Marco, back to you.
Rodriguez reporting live for us on the border near Hidalgo. Thanks so much. And staying in Hidalgo County, there is concern about housing migrants that cross now that Title 42 has ended. In McAllen, the Respite Center is prepared to house a number of migrants. Mayor Javier Villalobos says he's concerned and he believes things will be different this time. He initially thought the city would see 2,000 to 3,000 migrants in a week. Well, now he says he believes it will be 2,000 a day, and many of them might not just pass through.
Catholic Charities has a capacity for about 1,500, but of course we're going to have issues. I believed it was going to take a few days to reach that capacity.
Well, the city is taking other steps as well, and Mayor Villalobos says Anzal Lewis Park in Mission will house a temporary facility to handle overflow from the Respite Center. It has a capacity of 2,000 people.